Hello, everybody. This is Fernando for the latest Godzilla podcast. So, this is part two of the what could have been, which was the American sequel, not to the 1998 film, but to the Godzilla 2000 film. And last we had left off Columbia Studios, which had made the 1998 film. I'm sure they were kind of confused at this point, but they gave this guy Michael the go-ahead, and they said, "Sure, create a spec script, and we'll take it from there. We'll see how that goes from there." So he created the script, and he showed it to them, and they were kind of lukewarm with regards to it. The reason why they were kind of so on there was because I guess. They didn't really say it on there, but it kind of makes sense. They were just coming off the 1998 film, which was of course a huge CGI blockbuster type film, and then to all of a sudden introduce a reboot of some sort, but to have it be low-key, far more low-key than the 1998 film, again involving good CGI, but having it mainly be like a man-in-suit type action. That's where they were kind of alright with this on there. And now, here's what the actual story would have involved. I've been trying to find a copy of the Godzilla Reborn screenplay, but I haven't found it yet. If anyone knows, post a link to it on the comment section below. But here's essentially what he came up with that Columbia looked at, and this is why they kind of gave the response on there. And he said that again, this is Michael, the one who created this spec script. He said the Godzilla Reborn film would have continued the Godzilla 2000 film by incorporating that scientist that was in the Godzilla 2000 film. This being the geeky scientist, the one with the glasses from the Godzilla 2000 film. I think it says on the article his name was Shiro Miyasaka. And his character would have incorporated a major part of the film itself. And the reason he said this was because he was wanting to, again, blend the film, have it be with American actors, but also have it be with some of the people from the Godzilla 2000 film. And this would have involved the scientist character on there. What the scientist character would have done, he didn't go into it on there. That's why I was trying to see exactly what was happening with the script and trying to find the copy of it, but unfortunately nothing yet. Now, where the action and where the most of the movie, if not the entire movie, would have taken place is actually not in New York, nor is it in any other major U.S. town like San Francisco for the newest Godzilla 2014 film. Instead, it would have actually taken place in Hawaii, which is kind of a circle is completed type thing, because again, Hawaii, while it wasn't the major focus in the Godzilla 2014 film, we did have that infamous scene of the Godzilla reveal essentially happening on there. And the approach that Michael took was that a lot of the action was going to take place in Hawaii, but there was going to be a huge focus on characters. Characters was his main deal. He wanted to make sure that this was a film that, because of the small budget that they had, they couldn't really focus too much on blockbuster type action, but they would substitute that by still having it in there, but having a large focus be on the characters. If that kind of sounds familiar, we all know, of course, that that's one of the main critiques of the Godzilla 2014 film. But again, this was way back when. We're talking 1998, 1999, when the Godzilla 2000 film was first being done, and then of course the release of the 2000 film afterward, where Michael was working on that film. So in a reversal also, the lead character he describes was not going to be a man, but actually a woman. So again, very eerily familiar to the Godzilla 2014 film, with Gareth Edwards saying early on that the lead character was actually going to be a woman as well. But they ended up switching it, of course, to Aaron Taylor Johnson's character. But here, in this proposed sequel, it would have been a woman. In fact, it was going to be an LA TV reporter who was on vacation there in Hawaii, and she was tired of doing fluff type journalism, and so she wanted to do something far more serious. So there she was, just in Hawaii on vacation, thinking what she could do when it comes to her career, when all of this happened with Godzilla and the monster that I'll talk about soon. So, interesting though, because the Godzilla 1998 film, of course, featured a TV reporter of sorts, and I'm wondering if they would have incorporated, it's a long shot, but again, involving it being Godzilla and it involving the Columbia studio itself, they could have had that LA TV reporter actually be the character from the 1998 film on there. I don't know, it's a long shot, but it could have been on there. Michael says that the male lead would have been a quote-unquote skirt-chasing smartass who owns the hotel there in Honolulu, and that's where most of the main characters would have stayed. So he would have been a main character, and his relation is he owns the hotel where everybody stays at on there. But they would have been essentially bickering with each other. Most of the, I guess, scenes involving the lead character, the woman character, and this male character on there. He also said that there's a convention of quote-unquote international pipe-smoking scientists. This I don't know exactly what he was alluding to on there. One can, I guess, surmise on that part, but they were all a bunch of wisecracks. And then he said that inevitably there would have been the serious deadpan army general who is in talks of combating Godzilla and bringing in the military and ensuring that the day is saved on that part. The way he describes it, though, his character and then all the other characters, again, with his friend being Joe Dante, in the films that Joe Dante has made, again, like Gremlins, the sequel, Small Soldiers, Explorers, these are movies where the characters don't take themselves too seriously, and it looks like that would have been the trend here as well, where we would have had the main characters almost be like a comedy of sorts, but not a full-blown comedy, instead just having the scenes be lighthearted in as much as possible within a film like this. He actually said that's on purpose too, because he noted that the serious drawback with the Japanese versions of the Godzilla films is they made some of the characters, especially towards the 2000 going forward, be really, really serious. And he said that's why whenever you see the action of Godzilla fighting some of those other monsters, it seems almost like comic relief, because here you go from these characters taking themselves so damn seriously, and then it jumps to the Godzilla man in suit type action where he's fighting a giant Orga looking monster, and that's where there's a huge disparity. Instead, he wanted to reverse it, and he wanted to make the human characters far more lighthearted, but he wanted to make the monster action far more serious on there. It would have been interesting to see how that worked on there, because as with anything, you can't really have too much extremes. Obviously with the Godzilla 2014 film, there's nothing really lighthearted about it. Instead, they went to the full extreme side of things being so serious. And then you had films like the 1998 film, which made almost comedic comic relief type scenes, and not in an awkward manner, in a Godzilla type film, and that didn't work either. So maybe he was trying to find that perfect mix. I don't know on there. Now, as far as Godzilla himself, Michael says that in the script, Godzilla would have gone his way up to an island, Mauna Loa, I believe it's called on there. And the reason for it is he was actually going there because in that island is a volcano, and in that volcano is one of the is the monster of the movie itself, a monster that he called in the script Miba, M-I-B-A. I hope I'm saying it right. M-I-B-A, which was a giant bat-like creature made of molten lava. So Godzilla was going specifically to that island, to the specific volcano, because somehow he was sensing that this monster, this Miba, was going to awaken, and it's game on at that point. So Godzilla was not going to like that, and that's essentially the thrust of those two monsters fighting together. Again, eerily similar to the Godzilla 2014 film, where you have Godzilla essentially quote-unquote awakening once the mutos come to fruition, because as Ken's character always mentioned, there's a balance in nature, so maybe something like that was also being approached on here. So again, I'm going to cut it off here, and I'll continue talking about the sequel on the third video, so be on the lookout for that. Thanks everybody.